Welcome, Blair.
Hi, thank
Before
you
we
so
start
much.
anything, would you like to say something?
Oh,
Please.
just thank you for having me. This is great.
Thank you, Blair. It is said that those people are blessed and they have got special connection with the God or universe who have got dimples in their face. You are one of them.
Oh,
So you are definitely perhaps more lucky. You are the luckiest person for us at least. Well, Blair, let us come to the question directly. These are the questions which are asked by the audience, and one of the most important question that I felt that should be asked, that is, as per your introduction, you are the magic marketer related with the public relation and the social media for last 18 long years. Would you like to tell that how has the landscape changed since you started?
that's a great question. So I started my business, Blair Kaplan Communications, when I was 23 years old in 2008. And at that time, social media marketing, digital marketing, that wasn't a thing. It wasn't a service. It wasn't a platform. There was nowhere to learn it. There were no experts. And what happened was when I was out networking, people would always ask me if I knew how to use this thing called Facebook or this thing called social media as a marketing tool or as a public relations tool. And I didn't, but I said yes because I had to make money. And I took what I
Mhm.
knew from public relations and I applied it to the social media space. And what happened over the years is I developed my own systems and processes, the social media empowerment pillars, and they're the 7 elements that you need to build out a strategy in order to be seen as a thought leader. And over the last 18 years, those pillars have not changed. There are
Mhm.
7 key elements that you need to do in order to be seen as a thought leader. And social media, the landscape might change, different platforms come and go, but there's the foundation and the fundamentals
Mhm.
that remain the same. Yeah.
Great. Wow. If that is the case, then yes, to stick to your principles or the pillars, you must have faced so many challenges. So, would you like to share something about that? What are the challenges that you have faced during your journey?
Well, I mean, I started my business as I was 23 years old, and I started it in Vancouver, British Columbia. And being a young woman in business, there wasn't a lot of other people like me. And I didn't have a business mentor. So I made a lot of mistakes. I tried a lot of different things out in my business growth, and I probably spent a lot of time and money on things that didn't work.
Mhm.
So, one of the biggest lessons that I learned later in my business that I wish I knew, that I want people to know from the beginning, is to find a business coach or a business mentor or a social media and publicity coach or mentor to help you. So you don't have to
Mhm.
guess.
Great. Then, before I proceed further, may I ask you that would you like to be my coach?
Sure.
Because that would be really a great help to us. Well, just now, Blair, you mentioned about the pillars. Please elaborate on your social media empowerment pillar, please, so
Yeah,
that our
yeah, I
please.
would I would love to. So they spell out the word empower. And so there are different sections that you need to build out in your strategy, and each pillar has their own way to build them out. So E is for edutain. That is
Mhm.
educate and entertain. You're telling stories, you're not selling products. So telling,
Mhm.
not selling. And this pillar is all things related to content. The next pillar is M for money. And this is what is your social media advertising, public relations, publicity budget. Social media is pay for play. Yes, you can post organic, but if you have money to spend, your content and information goes further. And what are your money goals? How much do you want to make? Because that's going to impact how you show up, how often you show up, how hard you work. O is for other players. This is
Mhm.
who are your competition. Now,
Hmm.
I believe in collaboration over competition and that there's plenty of money and clients to go around. But we want to know who else is out there because if someone isn't spending money with you, they're spending money with someone else. So we want to know
Correct.
what they're doing, what are they selling, where are they showing up, what events are they at, where are they posting on social media, what are they posting, and we want to do it better. So we got EMP. Oh, I went backwards.
Oh.
P P is for personas. This is your ideal clients. Who are you
Mhm.
selling to? You
Hmm.
want to know who you're selling to because if you're selling to, a high school student, that's going to be different than if you're selling to, um, maybe a 75-year-old bingo player. Those are different demographics. So you need to know who exactly you're selling to, where they're spending time online, where they're consuming content, and that's going to be a key indicator on where you're going to be showing up. EMPOW. W is my favorite pillar. It is for
Mhm.
wins. Wins. And this is the publicity arm. In this pillar, you build out a public relations and publicity strategy. And part of that is called peacocking. And male peacocks, when they want to attract female mates, they stick their feathers out and they shimmy. Well, what you need to do is you need to peacock. And so in this pillar, part of your strategy is not only building out a visibility publicity strategy on where are you going to be mentioned in the media, but you're also going to build out a strategy on how you're going to share your wins, your accomplishments for you, for your clients, just because people need to know how good you are so they can refer you business and so they can celebrate you. And that's something I see that lacks in a lot of strategies. The second E is for engagement.
Mhm.
This is really important. It's the social in social media. We're not just posting and ghosting. We're not just scheduling content. We need to be a real person. We need to be social. So engagement is important, and having an engagement plan in your strategy is important because you need to show up. Every time you show up on social media, liking something, posting something, sharing something, commenting on people's posts, following someone new, you're planting a seed and you're showing up and you're visible. And so, do you want a flower pot or do you want a field? You want a field. And then the very last pillar is for it's R, it's realistic goals. Setting personal, professional, and health goals, a 5 year
Mhm.
vision, a 3 year vision, and a 1 year vision, and breaking it out that way. And that's going to help really structure everything you do in your business. And those are the empowerment pillars.
Great. Out of all these pillar, one which I like most is money.
Yeah,
So
yes. Who doesn't like money?
uh, till now, I knew Blair by 2M, that is magical marketer. So I need to add one more, money. And I'm
Yeah,
sure you have ample money. Good,
yeah.
good, good. So I feel proud that I'm interviewing someone who has money, who is rich. Of course,
Well,
he's
I
not
don't
rich.
know if I mean, I think that's a whole nother conversation. Money comes and money goes, but I know how much I want to make and what to do to make it. But I think success is more than money, and that's really important. It's about
Very
time
correct, very
freedom
correct.
and happiness.
Yes, yes, you're right. Well, Blair, you talked about the social media empowerment pillars. Yes, a building cannot sustain if it doesn't have the strong pillars. Well, for this, would you please tell me that how do this help your clients achieve their market goal? How you collaborate these pillars with your clients so that they can achieve the goal?
Right. So there's a couple things. Sometimes I'll share the pillars and a client can go and create their own strategy. But often
Mhm.
I coach my clients and work with them either in a group setting or one on one. And I build out their strategy with them based on what their goals are. Where are you now? Where do you want to be? And so
Right,
we go through and build out a whole strategy, a 12-month strategy together with all of these different elements.
good. So as you said, the 12-month strategy, so that is the 1 year strategy. So how you connect, suppose you take it as a short term, medium term, and the long term, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years. How you connect 1 year, 3 years, and 5 years
Mhm.
by keeping the short term achievements that, yes, as of this is you have achieved. So based on these achievements, how can you be on that stage where you will be after 5 years?
Right.
Please describe little detail.
So that's why the goal activity is important. So where do you want to be in 5 years? I'll give you an example.
Hmm.
10 years ago, I set a goal to do a TED Talk. I've always
Hmm.
wanted to do a TED Talk, 10 years. And to me, that's like the height of like, that's like a very big goal. And it's very rare. I mean, people do it where they've never spoken on stage to going right to a TED Talk. But if I'm going to do it, I want to get practice. So I knew that was my goal. So in order to get there, I wanted to speak on as many stages as possible. So I
Mhm.
started planning my own events. And then I started emailing people who had events. And then I became a
Mhm.
paid speaker. And eventually, the timing was right. And I applied to do a TED Talk, and I live in Canada and it's in the US, and I got
Hmm.
it. So I knew what I was working towards. And everything we do in our strategy is working towards that. We'll build a strategy and we'll start implementing it. And if stuff doesn't work, we remove it and we keep doing more of what does work. But we don't know what the marketing trends are going to be like next year or in 3 years or 5 years. So you constantly need to be looking at your strategy and refining it and updating it and adding things to it. It has to be fluid. And part of that is looking at your KPIs and your insights. Are you achieving the goals you set? Are you making more money? And are you going in the right direction? And so it's really important to be able to look at your strategy and take the time to evaluate it to see what is working and what isn't working.
Blair, you are right, but whenever you think or work towards your updating, towards your achieving your goals, the biggest problem that comes is once again the money. There are all chances that it becomes very difficult for a person to balance with the money that he or she is getting or flowing towards her and the money that he or she has to spend. So, how do you manage that gap and how do you fulfill that gap?
That's a really in depth question that I don't know if I have the full space to answer that. And that's why working with the coach is really good. I think depending on what your service is or your product, I work with a lot of service based entrepreneurs. A
Mhm.
lot of times there's a couple things. There's people who are trading their time for money, not their expertise. You don't charge by the hour. How long have you been
Mhm.
doing what you're doing? How much time have you put into perfecting your skills? And
Mhm.
what the biggest mistake I'm seeing is that people aren't charging enough money or charging what they're worth. So I think that's one of the big things. And also setting realistic financial goals. Some businesses never make $1 million a year, and some
No.
businesses make it within their first few years. So, setting those goals, do you want to make $10,000 a month? And then, how are you going to make that? Maybe you come up with X amount, maybe you come up with a couple different offers that are $2,500 and $5,000, and you go out and find those clients. People don't like to do sales, but you must be working on your sales every single day, getting in your inbox and answering emails, going into your DMs and sending notes and voice notes, getting on the phone and calling people. It is not the glamorous part of the business. But if you're not constantly planting seeds and doing sale, like working on your sales, you're not going to achieve your money goals.
Right, right. Yes, you are very correct. Yeah. So, Blair, there are people who are good mentor or the good coach or the good guides, but again, they are not that cheap or they are not easily available. So, how do you tap those people to get the knowledge and information that you wish to have?
There's a lot of free resources out there. Usually,
Hmm.
I would say almost every coach I've had or follow has something they give away for free. They often will do
Right.
free workshops, they'll often do
Mhm.
free seminars. They have lots of content on their social media. You can go to their website and download free workbooks. I like to call
Mhm.
this bootstrapping. In the beginning, when you don't have money to invest into a coach, take what
Correct.
you can for free. Go to the library and read books. The internet is a wealth of knowledge. Also, there's always coaches that are just starting out that want to practice for a lower price point. It won't hurt to work with them. Sometimes they even will take you on for free. And
Hmm.
you know, I couldn't afford, like when I started my business, there's no way I can afford a coach. There's also coaches that some charge a few $1,000s a month, some
Yeah.
charge 10, 20,000. So I think also knowing that, is your coach successful? Do they have a track record achieving the goals that you want to achieve? Or are
Hmm.
they BSing? And so I think being really selective about who you want to work with, immerse yourself in all of their free content. Often certain coaches offer group coaching programs where there's a nominal fee per month to join. And that's
Okay.
something to look at as well.
Wow. Interesting. So, once again, in a little more elaborative form, please describe one of the success story that you had where you could make a client and you could make the client to reach the goal that he or she wanted to have.
Yeah, so I have a social enterprise called the Global
Mhm.
Resilience Project, and
Right?
with that we publish books. So I'm working on my fourth book right now, but because I have experience in start to finish writing a book, publishing, editing, designing, marketing, becoming a bestseller, I've started to work with clients who want to do the same. And one of my clients that I'm the most proud of, she's in her 70s, didn't know anything about social media or marketing. She wrote a book, and I
Hmm.
helped her put her book together, come up with basically everything she needed to do, from cover to cover, helped build her website, her social media, launched her, became a bestseller, and then I helped her launch her second book over a few year period.
Oh,
And she's in her
great.
70s, and she had to learn a whole bunch of new things. And so I'm really proud of that client, becoming a bestseller 2 times over and writing two
Oh,
very big books and launching, and doing everything from start to finish. To me, that's a really big accomplishment for her, but also for me as her coach.
great.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
thank you.
So, in case if anyone wants to write a book, I must tell him or her to approach you. Great.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, there you have described something very interesting that you have been recognized as one of the top 10 conscious female leaders by USA Today. How do you incorporate consciousness and ethical practices into your work in your PR and marketing? Because it's too difficult for me at least.
I believe in giving back. I always have. And so, in my PR marketing world, I constantly am giving away free information and like offering high level mentoring like this complimentary. For example, we have, what was the date? The July 30th, I'll be doing a free workshop on social media and AI, kind of going deeper into a strategy. Same with August 20th. So in my PR business, that is how I give back. But I
Mhm.
also, under the umbrella of Blair Kaplan Communications, started the Global Resilience Project, which is our social
Mhm.
enterprise. And I help people of the world strengthen their resilience muscle based on neuroscience and storytelling.
Oh, wow,
Yeah. And so, yeah, we
great.
published our most recent book, became a bestseller, Resilient AF. Oh, it's hard to see here. Whoa,
Oh,
with the
wow.
background. But yeah, so
Mhm.
that's what I do. I am here to empower 888 million people to strengthen their resilience muscle by August 2030.
Oh, wow. What a big goal that you have made. Wish I am one of them.
You can be. I mean, maybe you already are. Look, we're talking.
Sure. Well, let me come to the one more questions. I have got heap of questions, but because of the time limit, we cannot ask all the questions. Most important question that all of my listeners must be having is, why do you think that this approach is important in today's business world? Why can't they go for some other approach?
I mean, I think they can try multiple approaches. Mine isn't the only one. Um, I have been doing this specific approach in this specific methodical order for 16 years, and it works. I've worked with large multi-generational organizations to startups and all around the world. And I know it works because not only me, but my other clients have been featured in magazines and books and billboards and newspapers and beyond. So I also suggest seeing what else is out there because what I recommend you doing, you might not enjoy. Not all of my
Right.
clients like my method, but I know for me and for my goals, this works. And for the clients I've worked with, it has worked for them as well. So I also think, it's okay to see it and modify it to fit you.
Wow. With few short sentences and a ocean of informations, you have literally mesmerized all the listeners, including me. It seems that perhaps as soon as this program is over, I must approach you to be your client. Well,
Sure.
well, I have got few still more questions to be asked, but because of time, let me stop here. Let me switch over to the second part of our session, that is the rapid fire question. And the first question that I would like to ask is, given all the platforms, it may be Facebook, it may be LinkedIn, or it may be Instagram, or it may be Thread, or it may be Reel, or it may be anything. Which one you like most?
That's a hard question. It's a tie between Instagram and LinkedIn.
Mhm. Because on LinkedIn, I saw lots and lots of detail about you, and the people have really given excellent comments for you. Great. Well, coming to the second question, which is quite known, and that is, which book you would like to recommend to all our listeners?
I'd like to recommend Resilient AF. Can't really show it to you,
Really?
but it's called Resilient AF Stories of Resilience.
Oh, great. Sure. And if possible, once the program is over, please try to give link or detail of your book that you have asked so that our readers can approach it.
For sure. And it's
Well,
available on Amazon around the world.
we discussed so many things about success, about achievement, about programs. Please give one example where you failed.
Where I failed? Oh my God, all the time. It's kind of a long story. I'll give you the high notes. I wanted to have free yoga. I couldn't find a way to do free yoga when I started my business at 23, 16 years ago. So I accidentally started a coupon company. Instead of focusing fully on my PR business, I turned my attention to starting a health and wellness coupon company. I spent a lot of time and a lot of money. It was amazing because I got to network and I really put my name out there. But I spent a lot of time and money and one day realized I don't want to own a coupon company and I just shut it down
Oh,
and focused on my PR company. And the lesson there is don't start a coupon company, just pay for yoga. Yeah.
very correct. Because everything that glitters isn't gold. Well, Blair, may I ask you that what is your favorite way to unwind after a busy day?
I like to go on a hike
Hmm.
or swim in the lake if it's hot out. And if it's winter, because where I live, it gets really snowy, I like to just relax in the hot tub or in a bath.
And what is the maximum number of days where you had been on the hike or mountaineering or trekking?
When I was younger, I did a 4-week hike and canoe trip.
Oh my God, about a month.
But recently, I just hiked 7 days, 6 nights and 7 days
Oh,
on something called the West Coast Trail on Vancouver Island.
oh,
And it was like 100 kilometers of ladders and beach and boulder and like very physically challenging, but very, very cool.
great. Come down to Australia. We have got number of spots and number of places and number of organizations who will definitely help you to fulfill your dream,
Perfect.
especially for hiking and trekking. I have got one more question. Of course, there are so many questions, but let us have this one as the last one. Blair, according to you, who is your role model?
Pardon?
Who is your role model and why?
What's my motive?
Role model.
Oh,
To
role
whom you
model.
like.
You know what? Sorry, it's 9:30 p.m. here. I'm usually in bed at 9. Um, my mom, unfortunately, during the pandemic, my mom learned she had cancer and died 3 weeks later. And she was a single parent who worked really hard to give me and my sister a really good life. And I am so inspired by her work ethic, her tenacity, her strength, and everything that she did and how she showed up. And she was given a lot of challenges in life and how she navigated all of that. And so I would say my mom's my role model. And, she died
Oh,
at 62, and I'm just here to make her
oh,
proud. Yep.
quite young age.
Yep. My mom and my
Yeah.
dad and my father-in-law all died in just about a year, just over a year.
Oh,
Yep.
so
Which is
sorry.
why my social enterprise started.
Uh-uh. Okay. I would love to know more about it.
Yeah,
Well,
for sure.
time doesn't wait for anyone, and with you, just within a fraction of second, we could complete more than half an hour, which is something really great. I'm sure all the listeners who are listening to you, or even who will be listening after, would not only get the way or the direction, but at the same time, your wordings will work as a milestone in their life to achieve their goal and success. Well, Blair, with a very big namaste to you and with a prayer to Almighty Universe or God that to give your strength so that you keep on doing these wonderful works to help the society at the large. At the same time, I request on behalf of our GST platform that please spare your time as and when we call you next time. Because I am sure by the time we call you next time, you would be a very big lady, very big business woman. You may not have time even to read the message, but please remember us and do come. So nice of you. Thank you once again, and with lots and lots of blessing to you.
Thank you for having
We'll
me.
see you soon.